Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, wouldn't be the first time. I
Certainly
think we're
not the
live.
last.
I
We're
think we're live. Always
We
takes a
live!
second for YouTube to catch up.
Okay, I'm gonna do the thing I did last time and get the comments going so I can be part of the conversation
Okay, yeah, do your thing.
and stop eating like a fucking squirrel.
Dark Corner Studios is live with 0 viewers. Hey, once you get on the,
Yeah, it's gonna be one.
yeah, we'll
Like
have
last
one
time.
viewer, baby. Hey,
One viewer.
welcome. Big news for me today. We have one viewer. Wow, I've got a vaccine.
That's the big news.
No, I got a vaccine.
Oh, nice. Congrats, dude.
I am vaccinated against COVID-19, my first. And if anyone from the States is like wondering, so like, everyone's got a vaccine. Up here in Canada, it ain't quite the same. We're still looking at 60 and up. Like they just brought it down. Hey, Miss Ravioli. Hello. Welcome to the beginning of the stream. I don't think you've ever been here for the beginning of the stream.
For that initial.
Wow, we just jumped up to 7 viewers like that. 8 now.
Sweet.
Wow.
Well, one of them's me.
All right, cool. Anyways, yeah, I got vaccinated, got the Pfizer vaccine because Quebec had a fat rule. I mean, basically, we'll take fat people first. So I'm like, hey, I'm on. So, yay. Hint of Shrimp says, once had a dog named Spot, then I bought some spot remover. Now Spot's gone. It's a sad story.
That was a
Hint
lot
Shrimp.
of spot in one sentence. Very sad story though.
Paul Adamson, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the stream. I don't think we've ever had 8 viewers this
Like
quick
within
to
the
start
first
off
like
the
10
stream.
minutes. Like what?
Hey, that's cool. Welcome everybody. Today, there is one top story that I just sent to Dylan. And this one might be a little weird. Jackson.mp4 says, yeah, here in Ontario is weird. It really is. I'm technically just over the border in Quebec, just outside of Ottawa, so it's not too bad.
You're one of those Quebecoids.
Did you check out the last story I sent you there, Dylan? The one
Nope.
about the E100S. Now, you're aware of the CAD Audio E100S, right?
CAD, like
Yeah.
the microphone company.
Yeah.
Yes. I've gotten a few CADs in my. Well, I've rented a few CADs.
I
just to try them out.
want to buy the E100S, and I think I'm going to have to very soon because all of a sudden they have placed it on their website under the retired flag. Now, this is interesting. Yeah, it's under product/retired/E100S.
They're gonna decom it. Watch it.
Well, here's the thing. They still have a buy tag for it, so you can still buy them, but I think the retirement is the fact that I don't think you can buy them anymore after they run out. And if you're into voiceover, this is one of those microphones that VO professionals absolutely love. The E100S.
You know what other mic? I was talking to a coworker this week, and we were just shop talking, and he brought up his Rode K2.
Oh.
And he was saying that, which is not, I haven't used many mics in the Rode lineup. I've used the NT1, the NT2A, and the NT5, and that's basically it. And they're all great, but I've never heard of the K2, which is a tube condenser.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it. It's one of those unicorn microphones that a few people have and swear by, but it's not well saturated in the market. Really quick, MDZ. Greetings, welcome. I've been researching microphones for over a month now, and I just haven't been able to decide what I want.
Yeah, feel that.
Yeah,
I feel
that can be tough. There's so many use cases. I do have to say, I'm currently on the new mic that I'm going to be reviewing. It's the AKG P220, and I got to say, so far, it sounds fantastic. And by the way,
what's the price tag on that? What's the MSRP on that?
Let me check it on Amazon.com. The AKG P220 is approximately, well, you can get a whole kit with a pop filter and everything for $134 US.
That's really good. Why the hell would anyone get the 120?
It's
the
119. Well, here's the thing, and this is why, like, I was all like gung ho for the 120. I was like, the P120 is amazing,
for especially the price point. But
and
for that,
it's considered a small capsule condenser, eh? The P120, because it's under an inch. It's just under an inch.
Yeah.
But this one is a true full condenser microphone. It's
a full LDC.
So I don't know, man. It's a completely different mic from the P120, and it's only like $20 more. And they try to put the variation of this is the instrument mic versus the P120 being the vocal mic.
Oh, fuck right off.
Because they've got different, they have different frequency ranges.
I agree with Paul. It is a very nice price.
Considering
how it sounds, like I'm just listening to you right now on these shitty SRH 440s, and it doesn't sound bad.
For the mic, like for the amount of money that you spend on this thing, and I'm gonna slowly go up the stack. I'm gonna go 440, and then I'm gonna go with the 840 just to try them all out.
Okay, hint of shrimp. When you say your budget is bad, like give us a number. Bad budget doesn't mean anything. We need a number.
Butter.
Butter.
It's Friday. Number. Shut up.
It's free, dog.
Yeah. Budget is everything, man. Like it's interfaces. There is a huge differential between cheap and relatively decent, and then expensive. So
it's funny actually. So one thing that I was looking at today was Glenn Fricker did one of his answering viewers or responding to viewers' comments type videos, and he was talking about how it's like there's like that guy like SMG. He gets so much stuff on his, like, so many assholes commenting on his videos, like just pompous elitist douchebags. And one of the guys was like, you don't need studio gear. You can record on a Scarlett 2i2 and make a platinum record. If, and he's like, yes, you can do that if you fucking know what you're doing. Most people don't know what the fuck they're doing, which is accurate. You can make awesome stuff on cheap stuff, but it's harder and it requires more expertise.
Okay, Scarlett, I'm not going to put as cheap. And that's no.
It's like $200.
But that's not cheap. A lot of people see cheap and they look at the under $100 range. But that's the thing. The M Audio Duo, and we're talking US prices, goes for about $60. That's cheap. Hint of shrimp, $50 ain't gonna get you much. But I would say the M Audio Solo and the M Audio Duo are okay for that. They don't record higher than 16-bit. So there's that to take in mind, but for what you get for under that under $100, you can't really complain too much.
Yeah.
Okay, so picking up my Stellar X2 Vintage is great. But if I set up my studio today, I'll give this AKG a go for sure. Yeah, the P220, I do have the P440. I think it's a 440. It's not the 420, I don't think. I do have the P440 on the way. That's the one that has multiple
I think it's
patterns.
the 120, the 220. It's the 220, right? The one you got right now.
P220.
120, 220, 420, and 840. I think.
Okay, so it goes up to the 840. I'm picking up the 420 that has multiple pickup patterns on it. It's a nicer one. And it kind of just ups it a little bit, and it's not very much of a price differential between the two until you get to the 840.
Oh, we forgot one of the models. We forgot
which one's that?
The P170s, which are the pencil mics.
Yeah, I haven't really dipped into pencil mics on this channel.
I've got those mounted on a mic stand over there. They're actually quite good.
Yeah.
For anyone who's never used an SDC or a pencil mic before, they're kind of like large diaphragm mics, except they're more flat. They're more like natural, like just uncolored, generally speaking.
Yeah,
Obviously,
and they're generally for instrumentation.
Yeah, I mean, I have done shootouts with them on vocals, and they're not bad. They don't sweeten anything up, that's for sure. But
yeah, they're also not gonna blow your socks off.
No. Well, on instruments, they're pretty good. Not as good as that new tube mic I just got. I just recorded a guitar with that this week, and it sounds amazing.
Well, and that's why I want to try with the AKG 840.
Yeah,
the 840.
There you go.
Because but I don't want to, and this is actually what I discussed in the video. I don't want to just throw them all in a pile and like, which one's the best? I want to actually go one at a time, like I did the P120.
Well, they all have their pros and cons.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, looking at the P120 individually, as it stands alone, is fantastic. Now the 220 is going to do the same thing when compared to the P120. So I think the just looking at this AKG lineup, one microphone at a time, and then kind of showing it off, the 840 is going to be a joke because it's a tube mic.
Yeah, it's not even going to be sonically. It's not even going to be comparable to the others.
No.
It's not going that it's going to be better or worse. It's just going to be so different that you can't even really put it in the same category.
I would say the same thing about the P220 versus the P120 because the 220 has a completely different diaphragm.
Even though it's like $10 more expensive.
Yeah, like I don't know how they're doing this.
I think it's a supply and demand thing. The P120 actually a pretty sought after entry level mic, so there's more of a demand for it. So the price is high. The 220, not many people care about it, so
No.
I think it just kind of tends to sit there. So anybody who's looking to get a good mic on the cheap, get the 220 now, because
it's
when your video catches on the 220,
yeah.
yeah.
That'd be great if people can discover this, because that's the one thing a lot of people don't realize is there's a ton of options out there beyond the SM7B.
$80. Less than $100 for the 220.
Used, yeah.
That's psycho.
Hinter Shrimp says, I'm a dishwasher. I take care of a few family members. Money's just difficult for me. Yeah, there's no shame in that.
No,
Or just let
no,
you
no,
know
no.
that,
it's hard to find decent quality stuff on the cheap, which I think is a good segue into another point. You were going to say something?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say there's no real diamonds in the rough when it comes to interfaces. Interfaces specifically.
No. Even microphones, like honestly, when you're down below $100.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Unless it's something used.
The P120 is below $100 and it sounds fantastic, but it's still going to be blown out of the water by a $1,000 microphone.
Yeah, or a $4,000 or a $12,000.
Yeah, it's just going to require more EQ. It's going to require more emphasis to try to bring out the tones of it properly. Now, you sent me an interesting story, and this is a fascinating one because you deal with actual studio gear. I don't. Like, there's a big difference between my setup and your setup. So, give her.
So which one? I kind of sent you two things that were about.
Well,
gear.
you were just segueing into
about,
it. Which one were you going to segue into?
I was going to segue into. We're talking about gear quality. So I myself, I'm not like I guess I would consider myself an audiophile, but I don't invest in like audiophile gear because it's stupid expensive for what you get. in my opinion, you can get like if anyone who here is in the audiophile sort of world, you would have heard the company Macintosh, which makes like power amps and stuff for speakers. You can get like Macintosh power amps that are like $30,000.
Yeah, they're
and
stupid.
and they're consumer. Well, they're obviously better than consumer grade, but they're better than studio grade. And one thing that Paul from PS Audio in that video that I sent you was saying is somebody wrote into him asking, why are we buying in all this audiophile gear for, hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases when the studio gear that they're being recorded on can't resolve nearly the quality of, audiophile gear. And, then he went on this huge sort of self-promo rant, not shitting on Paul. Paul's a great guy, but he went on this huge self-promo rant about the studio that he's building.
Yeah.
It's going to be like top notch. And my thing is this. Part of the reason why studio gear sounds the way it does and as sought after as it is because it doesn't resolve that perfect, 384 kilohertz worth of content. This gear, like tubes, are some of the shittiest built electronics on the planet. They are so not good at their job, but that's what gives them the sound, right? That's what gives, vinyl, when a stylus is cutting on grooves on a lathe into a master or straight into a piece of flat PVC or shellac, there's all these inefficiencies and these issues and just the stuff that doesn't work, but that's what gives it the warmth and the saturation, which is just another word for distortion, all those characteristics that give this gear the sound that it has. So I think the idea that the equipment that we're making audio stuff on needs to be perfect would kind of take away some of the magic of what makes it sound good in the first place.
Well, and it's also that kind of touches on the last video I did with the, the cheap versus expensive gear. Do you need the good gear? Holy crap.
And boom. RE20 does not like getting bumped. But the one thing that I will say, though, is I think that investing in higher quality equipment for playback isn't a total waste. And here's my logic. So if you are using, like, let's say, like he was in his video, on the PS Audio video that he just did about it, he was in front of a Studer console. Willie Studer has built some of the best studio equipment in the world. He's long dead now, I'm pretty sure, but I actually have a Studer tape machine. Shameless plug. But the point is, he was saying, well, this isn't good. I would never hold this to an audiophile standard. And it's like, okay. So Studers have a great tone, which is obviously from the various not perfect components that are being used. By buying expensive, because if you buy cheap, like let's say you're running it through like an old stereo, like an old like $100 stereo from Radio Shack, you're gonna get the color of what was printed to the record and then you're also going to get whatever color the stereo is imparting into that on the way out. If you buy more expensive stuff, you're probably going to get more of a transparent result. So if you really are listening to high quality music or listening to high quality, I don't know, podcasts, something, anything, that's a good quality, and you buy good quality stuff, you're going to be able to hear that quality a lot better, even though what you're listening to it on technically is lower quality than maybe your listening environment.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. But yeah, this whole idea, and I know a few like real life audiophiles, and they're very elitist.
I've been called elitist, and I don't even consider myself an audiophile. By the way, 1 second. Speaking of quality, Jackson.mp4, I'm just going to call you Jackson, dude. What do you think would be a better option between the M-Track Duo and the Air 192.4 quality-wise? Quality-wise, the 192.4 will win.
Yeah.
On paper. Like on paper, the N192.4.
Yeah, in the specific, on the white pages for it. That's what
the M-Track Duo, any appreciable quality for talking, you won't hear anything. For a podcast, you won't hear anything. For maybe recording crystal clear drums, you know, although you're not doing that on a Duo. If you are, God. Oh, I don't know why
jazz drums.
Okay,
throw up one room mic.
If you're using it for an acoustic guitar, you might actually notice some of the differential in quality. And that's the big thing, that you look at the 192.4 versus the M-Track Duo that's 16-bit. You know, the bits actually matter. It doesn't go, it's only 44.1, if I recall.
I would say 44.1 for me isn't as big a deal breaker as the bit depth, the 16 versus 24. Because what you get with the 44.1, most of your stuff's being stripped down to 44.1 anyway.
Yeah, big time, unless you're doing video.
And there are, 48 is useful for video. But like, you know, I've got converters here, like a lot of modern converters that go up to 384 kilohertz. And it's ridiculous. Like not only the space being taken up, but there are issues with that's not upsampling, but in recording in higher sample rates, there are issues that come along with that as well, like more noise being introduced into your signal for a start.
Yeah, and the headroom is the argument, but the headroom, I mean, depending on what you're recording, do you need headroom to record a podcast? No.
Well, that's for like, the 32-bit float kind of situation, which you don't, like at 384 kilohertz sample rate, you don't get more headroom with that. You just get more samples.
All right.
With
samples,
Yeah, if you have a session in your DAW and you're recording at 32-bit float, which basically takes a 24-bit signal, adds an extra 8 bits to give you that nice headroom, then that's useful. But most of the time, 24 is nice, and the reason 24 is nice because the difference between 16-bit and 44-bit, 24-bit,
right? It's Friday.
It's Friday. Is that you get more dynamic range. So in other words, so I guess to explain it simply, if you have an audio interface, hypothetically, that had 2 bits, you'd have 4 different volume levels that anything could be at any point in time. Your waveform would look like not good. That's called quantization, and it's bad news bears. 16-bit isn't bad. It's not great.
No.
It's not great, especially if you're recording really dynamic content. If you're squeezing the hell out of everything, because generally a lot of those volume levels are at the top. When stuff starts to get quiet is really when you start to see that that quantization occur a lot. But I would definitely, like, if you can get a 44.1 kilohertz audio interface at 24-bit, I would go with that over like a 96 kilohertz device at 16-bit.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, between the two M-Track Duo and the Air 192.4, go the Air 192.4. It's almost twice the price. Well, no, the M-Track Duo is 60. The Air is 99, I think. So a third more.
Still $99. That's.
Well, it's US, man. It's US. It kills us every time when we say it because we're like, what is that? 3,000 Canadian?
3,000 Canadian pesos.
Yeah. Unusual Audio says the P420 is a really cheap way to get into the Bloomline or MS. What's Bloomline or MS? You got the same comments in front of you there.
So hang on. You said MS. I'm thinking mid-side.
Mid-side, okay.
Does the 420 have adjustable polar pattern on it?
Yes.
Okay, then I think that's So if you're looking to record MS stereo, which in my opinion is like the best image. The best stereo image that you can get is MS. It's also the most complicated, but I think it far exceeds ORTF or XY or AB or any of that other shit that people use. Don't get me wrong, I still use XY for all kinds of stuff, but I think for acoustics and drum overheads, well, not drum overheads, but it's good.
Yeah, this is something that I was talking about with Dylan. On the mic reviews that I do, I want to start including more acoustic guitar and singing into that. And while I'm not a professional studio producer, Bloomline is amazing for piano. Okay. I have no idea what that is. However, I want to start getting into recording acoustic for this and doing more of a show of what a microphone can do with an acoustic. So I'm actually going to be sitting down with Dylan, possibly making a video where he walks through how to set this up, and while I take the video of me setting it up the way he tells me to get the best quality sound. And then also when you take that audio and put it into your DAW.
We will demonstrate live how horrible my instructions are and how absolutely atrocious it's going to sound.
We are not doing this live. We are not.
We totally should. I think people would find that.
That'll be like a...
Put in the comments. Comment in the comments if you want to see us do, like, if you want to see me coach Aiden through how to record some stuff like live on a stream.
Oh man. Once I get the second computer, it'll be fine. 16 bits means you have a practical noise floor of 96 hard-coded, negative 96 hard-coded, so you can't record quiet. 24-bit has a hard noise floor of negative 144 dB, as if you'll ever meet that. But yeah.
It's funny because there are still people that record at like 64-bit.
Yeah.
Like, I have gotten wave files from people that are in 44.1 at 64-bit. It's ridiculous.
Jeez. David says, yeah.
He's into it.
That's going to be like a 4-hour-long live stream of my fat ass trying to walk around and get stuff set up. Yeah, that's what I want to watch, too. That's a Friday night right there.
We'll be sitting there for 20 minutes just watching you thread mic mounts onto stands.
Oh, no, this is the next thing. And this is one of the things for the Christmas video for Christmas presents. I put up quick release is one of the
dynamic range of a fusion bomb. Well, fusion bombs are pretty loud. I hear.
I put up one of the ideas for a Christmas present would be a quick release for microphones. I'm buying 20 of them, and I'm just going to outfit every microphone in this studio with a bloody quick release.
See, how good are they though? Like, does the mic rattle around on the stand?
No. The only problem you'll have with the quick release on a microphone is that it's a little higher up. So technically,
not a huge issue.
It adds like 2 inches to the height of where your mic plugs in.
Not that bad.
And I'm like, do I want to do that?
I would love that. Hang on. So I built this little. Well, I didn't really build it. I just set it up. Hang on.
You built it. Okay. Well, Dylan's gone. Wow, I just went blank. Today is Friday. I think the surface of the sun has an ambient sound of plus 260 dB. Bangs, where do you get that information from, man? What are you setting up?
And we're back.
What are you setting up? What's a pencil mic for?
These? Oh no, this is just for whenever I go to use because very rarely will I use a pencil mic in a mono situation.
But yeah, that's fair.
This is kind of like a permanently affixed XY.
That's cute.
Stereo sort of setup. So I get one of these cheap little K&M like $20 little mic splitters. But what I would love is to have the quick release on that, so I could literally just because I never really use these. Well, it would be fuck it, never mind. I was like, no, I'm like contemplating shit. My brain's all
fuck it,
but,
never mind. Thanks for taking all that time.
I'd love to put like a quick release on this little K&M splitter so that I could just take this off and put it on a lower stand or something if I wanted to. Because the problem is in order to turn this, I kind of have to screw with the very delicate placement of the mics at the 90 degrees.
That's a pain. Now, I don't know about how sturdy... Oh, anyways, David does say he wants to ask about pencil mics. So go ahead, David. And while you say that, I don't know how sturdy the mechanism is for keeping the mics from tilting off axis. And that would be the pain in the ass with it.
Especially if, for example, on that splitter, if I were to use, instead of putting the actual splitter on the adapter, if I got two, and put the two XY mic, like those, they have to be in a kind of very specific arrangement.
Yes, they have to be right.
Otherwise, your stereo, well, you'll either get phasing issues if you collapse it to mono, or you'll have acoustic shadows casting over your mic capsules, or a variety of other not happy things.
Bang says, I have a bunch of Gator quick releases. They sell the mic ends in 5-packs. Oh, link that up, man. I might just grab that.
I would trust Gator because I've got Gator cases and they're built like tanks. I could drop them off my 7-story window and they probably wouldn't give a scratch on them. So I would be up for trying a Gator quick release, just one, just to see.
All right. Recommended actions for a pair: Rode M5 Budget, NT5 Ambition. So recommended actions for setting up, I'm guessing, a pair of pencil mics. That's
I thought it was comparing the two.
Recommended actions for a pair. I mean, but the budget Rode M5 are great. Those are fantastic. NT5s are those are.
Yep, NT5s I've used them.
Are
They're
those
not
the,
as
those are the shotguns, aren't they? Those aren't the pencils.
No, they're pencils.
Are they pencils?
Yep.
NT4. The NT4, the NT4 and 4 Plus is a shotgun.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm just one off.
Yeah.
It isn't perfectly immovable, but it isn't bad. Okay. Go ahead. Continue.
I've used the NT5s. I can't speak to the M5s. Or the M5. I've never used them, but obviously I'm assuming they're probably a little bit less transparent than the NT5. That's just my gut instinct tells me that because of the lower price point.
Yeah.
They're still not as good as the ubiquitous KM184s, which are I'm not gonna go.
No, don't.
I'm like,
it's also the noise level on the Rode M5s. I believe they're a little noisier too.
Yeah, the thing is, I think as far as small diaphragm mics, you're hard pressed to get better than like either the Neumann KM184s are great or the Earthworks stuff. The Earthworks stuff are probably the most true omnidirectional and also the most transparent pencil mics that you'll ever get, but they're also like $1,000 a mic. So
yeah,
that's a consideration. Even the Neumann KM184s are not $1,000 a mic. But yeah, so setup, I mean, depends on what you're recording. Again, having them in XY or ORTF is great for like drum overheads, or even just, AB I generally use for large diaphragm condensers. For a guitar, like an acoustic guitar, stereo, if you really want to record your guitar stereo for some reason. What are you typing there?
Just go with it.
I would say I usually put one over the shoulder on the saddle, one near where the cutaway usually is, both pointing sort of not at the sound hole. Don't do that.
Don't get him started on the sound hole.
God, I remember once I was in a studio once with a guy, and in one of these home recording experts, and I was miking up his guitar a certain way. He's like, well, I'm putting it in the sound hole. Like I have to move to get the sound hole in front of it. I said, no, I don't want the sound hole in front of it. He's like, well, that's where it's loud.
Yeah,
like, that's not where it's good,
loud.
Bro. Yeah, that's where the boomiest, most obnoxious sound. Like, no, you don't. No. The only time I will do that is live because I'm looking for the highest signal to feedback ratio that I can get.
So best usage. He thinks he's going to go M5. Now they're not decent. They're okay for speech.
What's the M5? Can you look up the
Rode M5?
Yeah, what they run for price wise. I'm just curious.
Oh, 1 second. Jesus. So, but best uses for them. I'm taking you're picking up a guitar. That's what I'm guessing.
For instruments, are generally I like using mint green. I like using
a 2-pack is $300 US.
Okay, that's for a pair of pencils. That's not bad. AKG P220s would be cheaper. I think they're about $99 US for one AKG. So for a matched pair, you're probably like around $200. But yeah, that's guitar is a good use. Definitely a good use for pencil mics. I use pencil mics on guitar, not as of late. Depends on what. I'd say for pop guitar, pop guitar pencils are great. I generally
Well,
looking for a warmer sound.
If you're throwing a pencil on a guitar, you're also pairing that with a condenser, right? You're putting up a
no,
large
a
condenser?
lot of times I'll just have one or two pencils.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Sometimes you can. There's nothing wrong with doing it. If I'm recording if it depends. Why am I recording the two mics? Am I recording the two mics to sum together as a mono element with two different timbres? Because then I'll use a different mic. But if I'm recording the two mics to get a stereo spread, I'm not going to use two different mics because that's just really going to make my stereo image weird.
Yeah.
Having like one boomy mic on one, or like I've seen it with somebody before where someone will take a pencil mic, put it on like the 14th fret.
Yeah.
And then they'll take a SM57 and put it on the body, like on the lower bout of the guitar, and it's like no. And they'll pan it, and it's like what? I feel like I'm listening to a Beatles record. What the hell? Like, what is this?
Yeah. So, what Dylan said, Andre. Oh, just tuning in. A mic is being canceled. Joey's totally tech. Yeah. I did. I didn't actually link it, but the CAD E100S. Joey is actually on CAD's retired page.
It's on the chopping block.
So
chopping block.
That sounds like they're going to be putting away the E100S, which is going to make a lot of voiceover people very sad. And then we had Andre asking, should I get the Shure MV7? It's probably the best USB mic out there if you want to get the MV7. It's not a great XLR option. However, the dual recording option out of both USB and XLR is favored.
Just responding to Dizzy here, M Dizzy. Feel free to correct us on how the hell to pronounce that. We're both idiots.
Z.
But yeah, I wouldn't generally recommend. Like, I haven't. Well, no, that's a lie. I've heard of people using ribbon mics as room mics, but generally, like, dynamic mics are more often than not for close miking situations.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to have like this RE20, for example, like. My level, just from moving back like 4 inches, is ridiculous now. I'm sure.
Yeah, and your gate's starting to kick in too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's just chopping me off like crazy. So yeah, if you're gonna do anything at a distance, get a small diaphragm or large diaphragm condenser.
Yeah, and I mean the problem with the condensers, and a lot of people say, and he actually put it up there, picking up mechanical keypad sounds. Like when I go to search on the computer, you can actually hear.
Oh yeah, the rejection is bad. Generally speaking, is a lot worse on that said, the rejection on the Shure, I think it's the Beta 181. Can you look up that?
Sure.
Beta 181
Beta 181.
See, yeah, the Shure Beta 181, and I believe that's a pencil mic. It's a side address pencil mic, which is interesting.
Oh yeah, that's cute. That's expensive.
I've used those, and they're the only condenser mics that I've ever used that actually have phenomenal off-axis rejection. Like
I mean, you can get a shotgun mic that has great off-axis rejection.
Yeah, and they're Electret condensers.
Yeah,
most of the time they're Electret.
And they will like a good shotgun mic placed above your monitor and just outside of the view of your camera. And you'll get incredible sound out of one of those.
Although honestly, I've even used like in a pinch. I've used like a pencil mic, like one of these Perception 170s, or the or even the AT 2022 or whatever the hell it is, as a shot in a camera context, like just placed on a stand above the frame, and they actually work pretty well. They don't obviously have quite as good rejection, but they sound virtually identical, like as far as on-axis signature to a shotgun mic, because shotgun mics also are relatively colorless a lot of the time because of their design.
Depending on the shotgun mic,
they're not bad sounding, but I mean, you kind of want them to be colorless because then you don't you can sculpt it the way you want later.
Yeah, and the voiceover opportunities with them are great too.
Mm-hmm.
I've been using Zoom ZDM1 mics for my podcast now with the Zoom PodTrack P8. It's all Zoom here now. Yeah, you know what? The ZDM1 mics. See, when I got sent the PodTrack P4 for review, he sent me the ZDM1 mics, or the mic, along with the headphones and all that. They were good. I did the video with the Zoom ZDM1 mic, and I had no issue with it. But I never did do the review of the ZDM1 mic. I just I'm like, thanks for the microphone to do the review, I guess. But it never occurred to me. And then when I sent it back, I'm like, why didn't I review that? The package, it's like $100 pack for headphones, microphone. And the mic is for a dynamic mic, which by the way is really hard to screw up. A dynamic mic is like cheap condenser mics, like you saw with the Scarlett Solo Pack.
Yeah, it's okay. Now I know what you're saying. So you're talking about as far as the design, the technology to build.
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
it's
dynamic microphones are very simple concepts. Like,
and they're robust. I mean, they can take a beating. You can send 48 volts, mind you. I mean, most of the time it doesn't matter because 48 volt just gets canceled out coming into the mic. But yeah, they can take a beating. I mean, if anyone who's ever seen that SM58 video, that notorious video where someone just does horrible things to 58s and it sounds virtually identical to the way it did.
Joey, check out my review of the PodTrack P4, and that's actually got the ZD1.
Shameless plug.
I will actually look to see if I can get another ZDM1. It's kind of one of those got lost by the wayside because I already had it in my hand and whatever. Rode NT Mini USB is nice with the new software if you need a USB condenser. I've got a guy at Zoom who, before the new software was released, they have this software you can connect all the USB condenser mics together, and on one computer it works. A guy from Zoom contacted me and said, dude, I got something really cool for you. We're going to send it out for you before the release date.
You mean Zoom or you mean Rode?
Oh, no, Zoom. Rode. Oh, my God. Sorry, I got the Zoom guy. Sorry, we're going between Zoom and Rode. The Zoom guy.
I saw you talking about the whole Rodecaster
trying to send
thing
me the Zoom PodTrack P8. Sorry, the Rode guy was like, I got this awesome thing. I'm going to send it to you before release. I can't tell you what it is, but it'll show up on your doorstep. And then he went on holidays. The thing released, and I'm still sitting here like,
what a clown.
Did you send it? It was coming from Australia, so I guess it might be on the way. I emailed him on Monday going, what's up, man? And nothing. So I guess we'll find out if he sent it from Australia a week ago or not. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on the NT USB Mini, as well as that software, just to see how it works.
See what's up with
and
it.
Also, I get to review the NT USB Mini, which I am kind of curious. Like, I want to see how well it stands up. I don't like the idea that it's a desktop mic that I'm pretty sure you can mount it on a boom arm, but I don't think so because it's so small. And I don't know about you, but sitting at a desk that's right around my navel, and microphones at my navel don't sound good, especially if you hear my navel in the background.
Does it have a sound?
You hope not.
I'd love to hear a soundscape of your daily naval routine.
Here's an interesting one. Bang says, I have a Pyle Pro Pod Mic PD Mic 58, and it crackles audibly if there's phantom power on the channel. The only mic I have that scares me. I actually ordered... Oh, it has a 1/4-inch tap. That's awesome. Good to know. I've ordered a Pyle microphone. Somebody told me I had to order the Pyle mic. This is one that comes with an XLR to 1/4-inch. Let me see here. It's Amazon. Amazon.ca, and let's look at my orders.
PR40 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Pyle Pro Pod Mic 58, professional moving coil dynamic handheld microphone. I love that name. But it's the Pudmic 58.
I love how they chose 58. Yeah, that's just...
Well, I mean, it looks exactly like an SM58. It costs $31.
But I mean, do you have to be that obvious about it?
Why is it going XLR to line level? That's all I want to know. Why is it going to a 1/4-inch? XLR to 1/4-inch. Why?
You said just a lot of things just now that don't really generally get strung together. What?
No, the microphone comes with an XLR to 1/4-inch.
Yeah.
Why?
Which is weird. I mean, I have gotten cheap mics that have those cables before. Is it a balanced 1/4-inch or not balanced? Does it have 2 rings or 1 ring?
Just single ring.
Really?
Right? Like there's a whole bunch of stuff about this microphone. Oh wait.
Make
Bang
sure
says I can answer.
Whenever you go to use that mic, make sure you wrap it in all kinds of power cables.
It's gonna be buzzy. Bang says if you use a balanced cable, it sounds horrible. And Unusual Audio says it's for karaoke machines, which does actually make sense. But the problem is okay, this is the name of the mic. Pyle Pro PUD
So
mic,
they have
PD
a really
mic,
shitty balancing transform
Yeah.
then, I guess.
Pyle Pro PD mic 58, professional moving coil dynamic handheld microphone. Nothing in that tells me it's
they're
for.
literally just doing the keyword thing. They're doing what everybody does on
I
Amazon.
know, but you still, like somebody said, I need to pick this up because it rivals the
It's
SM58.
professional.
This is a microphone that will rival the SM58. So, Bangs, I just got to ask you this. If I were to put this thing on an XLR connection, is it going to sound garbage? You said balanced,
Well, try it.
but you did. Well, it's not in yet. I'm still waiting for it. I spent $31 of my own money
and
on
then
this.
when you do your video, try it because it sounds like it's one of those mics that's just built with a shitty balancing
crap,
transformer.
crap. That scares me. Oh, will it I wonder if my interface. Oh, that might not be a good thing for my interface, would it?
Well, not necessarily. I
Yeah,
don't think it'll
well,
make-
Bangs is saying fry your interface. Maybe I should get like a throwaway interface to try this with.
Don't turn phantom power on.
Well, I'm not going to turn Phantom on. Why would you turn Phantom on with a microphone?
Well, so I have a 16 channel board beside me, and it has one global phantom power switch, like a lot of.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times, dynamic mics, in most good professional situations, are designed to be impervious to phantom power
Yes.
because it just cancels out coming into the mic. But for a shittier mic, if there's a chance that mic gets shorted through the common straight back into the board, you're a bug.
That was like a remix of your sentence. I like that.
You're a bug.
I get that. Like I have individually addressable phantom power for each channel. So I guess that does make sense. I haven't worked with a board that is universal across the board, which kind of kills the whole ribbon mic idea. Like especially, and one of the reasons I went with the AudioFuse Studio is I can plug in a ribbon mic beside a condenser, and I don't have to worry about the ribbon mic getting.
Yeah.
Like,
See, now the actual preamp's not the one that the RE20 is going through, but my H stack that's Audient on my rack, they have individual power supplies for each channel, which is very nifty, especially because I do have a ribbon. I have a Coles 4038, and I'm really not interested in killing it.
Joey says Pro is purely marketing. Same with graphics cards and motherboards in the word gaming. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, and that's like I'm on a Ryzen machine. I've got a gaming motherboard. I don't game on this machine.
Well, it's like I think of it as one of those things. Like whenever somebody tells you that they're really good at something, they're probably not. In the same way that when something tells you like. I don't think I've ever seen the word professional written in U87 AI marketing.
No. Nobody does.
Like,
Chasing a murderer, $2. Thanks. Appreciate it. You know what? And the problem with stuff like that is like whenever you see it on a motherboard, it's actually in quotations sometimes where it says professional.
See, I'm looking at the U87 write-up. It says standard microphone. They're not professional. Standard.
Screw you. Everything else is substandard then, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Bastards.
Absolutely.
Chasing a Murder is welcome to the live stream. I actually haven't seen you in early on this live stream. You usually come at the end. Welcome. Says great channel. Thank you very much. MZ says professionals say something good about Elgato Wave 1 and Wave 3 condenser microphone. They're good for streaming.
I played the fifth.
No, you know what? I mean, if you're gaming and you just want something that projects your voice onto your stream, Bandrew Scott? Okay, do I honestly have Bandrew Scott on this live stream?
Yep.
Dude, welcome.
I can confirm. Welcome, sir.
Okay, just for Bandrew, I'm just going to share the link since we got him on here. I didn't think Bandrew knew I existed on a YouTube level. I've chatted with him on Twitter, but now he knows what my YouTube channel is. This is the link that I shared in prep for this show. This is the CAD Audio E100S. And the CAD Audio E100S is now on the retired section of CAD Audio's website.
See ya, Joey.
Joey, cheers, man. Have yourself a good night. Thanks for joining. These being the $10 to $20 US cheap mics. Yeah, they're not bad for streaming. You're not going to
They're gonna wow
You're not
anybody's
going to do
pants off.
voiceover with those microphones, and that's fine. They fill the role that they're there for. They're meant for streaming, and they don't do a bad job of it. You don't sound like total garbage. So that's probably the big thing about the Elgato Wave and 3. And they don't, and that's what I do like about Elgato. Elgato doesn't try to make it sound like it's going to be the ultimate microphone.
No, they're like, it's good for this thing that we have specifically marketed it to do. It's not the...
The only
the
selling
perfect.
point on it is that it's a wave. So it provides a wave coming out of the microphone.
Oh, he's been watching from the shadows.
Oh, that's thanks, Bandrew. Now he didn't say whether or not he liked it or not, so I'm glad you've known about the channel
He's
for a
been
while.
slowly watching you grow.
Yeah, I've
Grow
been
to make
waiting to
somewhat-
stomp you into oblivion, you little bastard. Oh, welcome, man. It's actually an honor to have you here, brother. The dreaded E100S retirement. This is sad. This is one of those microphones that was on my wish list that up until recently, I haven't really been able to afford the higher end mics. And it's just, I'm starting to get to the YouTube channel to a point where I'm like, I can maybe buy some microphones that I don't kind of want to sell the next day. So the E1, out comes the verbal cattle prods. Please, I don't need to have my Friday wrecked by Bandrew. Please don't. He's a delightful person to watch on his channel. Don't make him hurt me. The E100S, since Mike Delgadio did his, like, he gushes over the microphone. It's one of his main mics. I've always wanted to try because I like what my voice does. And I think my voice and his voice are not close, but he's
your voice does too.
He's got a deeper register to his. So I've always wanted to try it. I think I'm going to have to buy one sooner rather than later, though. If it does retire, or if it is retiring, it's not a typo. I'm going to... Are you okay over there?
There's fucking Gates going psycho over here.
Yeah, your gate's been a little rough over the... Oh, hey, and Bangs
asshole.
brings up... Bangs, are you Canadian? Bangs just brought up the C10 bill. Bill C10. Do you know about the Bill C10 there?
I haven't. I've seen with these bills. Before I cast a judgment, I always like to read the government issued legislation. I haven't done that yet. I've seen the stories about it.
Okay, so this is the gist from an idiot. And I'm not going to claim that I know C10 bill in and out, but basically what it is in Canada we have something called CanCon or a CanCon bill.
Yep.
That's enforced. That makes us play between 30 and 40% Canadian music on radio stations, as well as on TV. We have to have a 30 to 40% CanCon or Canadian content on our TV as well. Does those doubt Bangs? BNB is everywhere and knows all. I'm starting to see that. Bangs has some interesting content for that he brings out in each live stream. And no, I've never doubted Bangs. I've actually invited Bangs to be on the stream with us. And Bangs never got back to us.
Putting him on the spot.
No, I understand fully if Bangs doesn't want to come on. I would never hold that against anyone. And also wins the award for best name. Anyways, Bill C10 is basically that for the internet. So where we have been regulated with our CanCon, which has killed some monumental radio stations in the past, by the way, including one in Windsor. That was one of the biggest stations in the U.S. CKLW. Rise and Fall of the Big Eight. If you ever get your hands on the movie, The Rise and Fall of the Big Eight, you'll find some media gold in there.
Rosalie Tremblay, man. Music director with the golden ears.
Best music director.
Yep.
If you ever get a chance to look up what CanCon has done for Canadian talent, the only reason we have sicked Nickelback on you is because of CanCon.
CanCon, yeah.
CanCon is the reason that Bieber exists. CanCon is the reason that most Canadian talents exist. Now, C10 is basically going to apply that. Stop hitting your microphone. It's going to apply that to the internet. So content that is made specifically for the internet. And while that might be scary for a lot of people, because a lot of, you know what the people that are freaking out about C10 are? They're all the kids that are like, my TikTok, what is it good? I have to now dance to a Bryan Adams song? No, you don't need to dance to a Bryan Adams song. All it's going to do is it's going to make content creators like myself, or actually more likely like Linus Tech Tips, is going to now be supporting the Canadian content online. So we have a media kind of pool where radio stations all put into a media pool to help support Canadian content. And it's to try to fight off the American invasion of music as well as the British invasion. And it's going to kind of be the same thing with online. So is it a bad thing? It's taking away a lot of the rights of...
You kind of hit on the main point, which is that look at what this kinds of legislation and restrictions have done in the past, which is kill business.
Yes,
and eliminate Canadian commerce. And it's kind of ironic because it's designed to actually help business thrive, help content thrive from Canada, but it actually ends up kind of doing the opposite in a lot of respects.
But it's not going to regulate TikTok. It's not going to regulate YouTube. No. It's going to make YouTube have to serve up Canadian content to Canadians more often. No. So in my recommended videos, I'm going to see more CanCon in there. I'm going to see more Canadian creators. Canadian creators have been doing awesome on YouTube. Linus Tech Tips is a great example. The dudes from Hamilton that build all the Iron Man stuff and the name of the...
there's a lot of great content that comes even in our business, like Glenn Fricker there, Spectre Sound. He's got some great content. He's from my backyard.
Bang says there was an exemption for streamers and podcasters. That exemption was removed, but that exemption isn't going to impact the average podcaster or the average streamer or the average YouTuber. It's going to impact the guys like Linus Tech Tips. As it's written is different than as it's executed. And that's what with every Canadian law.
I'm just reading through on the gc.ca site here, and like every piece of legislation that comes from our federal government, there's a lot of wiggle room here. There's a lot of ambiguity. It makes me uncomfortable.
Well, no, and that's the problem with generic law, and even the original CanCon laws were the same. Now, I'm not backing this as being the godsend for all internet, but what it will do, and Bandrew says, I already see so many Canadian content creators. I thought about why that is, and I think it's because y'all got healthcare and stuff. Maybe, we have more time to stream because we're not, having to work to pay off our medical bills. Not sure if there's grants as well or anything. And this is the interesting thing when it comes to internet content. As soon as there's regulation by CRTC on internet content by Canadians, you are going to find grants. Right now, if you wanted to produce a music video for your band, you can apply for grants through the Canadian government that are actually really easy to get.
Yep, factor, yo.
And they're like $10,000 to $20,000. Like,
I've made a lot of money from the Canadian government.
But that's the thing, right? Like, that's the big deal. Like, you can cut albums as a musician in Canada for free. Grant.
Yep.
Like, complete. A lot of our main musicians have come up through those grants. So is it a bad thing that maybe a YouTuber like myself can apply for a grant to get, a chamber for testing microphones, or if I could get some gear? Well, why not, man? A small chamber,
make an anechoic chamber for testing.
But a small chamber, you can do it. It's not perfect. You're not going to get a perfect anechoic chamber, but you can get something for testing the noise level for microphones. Maybe that's something that you can take $30,000 from the government because it's supported by other content creators like Linus Tech Tips. I still can't remember that Hamilton channel that does all the engineering and stuff. He built like the Iron Man suit, and he built like Thor's hammer, like the hammer that's incredibly heavy.
I feel awesome. Like I've seen those videos.
I want a grant for an anechoic chamber. Yes, wouldn't that be something like that? Be awesome. It doesn't have to be a full room. All it's got to be is just big enough for it needs to be bigger than a microphone, but something that can. Like, that would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Like maybe like a box 4 feet tall by 2 feet wide or something.
It would probably be ridiculously expensive. Like, it would probably cost almost like 6 or 7 months' salary to build. But it would be cool.
Yeah.
It would be ridiculous.
Well, and if you can make a business justification for it, you could get them to cover at least part of the funds. Or depending on how efficient you are with your money, maybe the whole thing.
Free money must really be free. It really isn't, and this is the reason a lot of this stuff actually exists in Canada, is because of the American push on our culture. And before anyone laughs at the Canadian culture or anything like that, when we were being invaded by British music, which was happening with the Beatles, 60s, the 70s, was a massive push. Yeah, it was. Canada was recognizing that, well, we don't have an answer to any of this. I mean, we had April Wine. Come on! April Wine is not the Beatles. That is unacceptable.
They really want it to be, though. I mean... well, you can't forget the 5-man electrical band,
okay. We had decent, we did have decent CanCon in the 70s, but it wasn't decent when you compared it to the Beatles, when you compared it to just anything out of the US. So what we did was we set up a scenario where Canadian music didn't feel like it was it was crap rank. It just, they provided money to be able to record, to be able to tour. Bachman Turner Overdrive is a great example of what CanCon brought.
In our government's view, this content at the time wouldn't have been thought of as content, but this stuff that we're putting out into the world, music, films, TV shows, are kind of like, multimedia ambassadors of what Canada is capable of. So in their view, it's like, we're going to set these guys up. They're going to make awesome stuff. And that's what's going to be put out to represent our country.
Yeah. Bandrew.
The ice melting on the lake, eh?
Bandrew, your box of doom, right? You said you had that made for you. How much did it cost you to do that? The box of doom. I'm just going to put that out because 29 dB is actually very impressive. Maybe something like that. I do have construction skills. I have the ability to build. I don't know if I could build that, though. I don't know what the specs are on it. I don't know any Canadian musician or band, but I know Canadians are tough on hockey. You know what? Have you not heard of Justin Bieber? Come on. You know what? Our biggest
he might as well be American now.
You know what? And this is one of the things that I forget what I was talking about, but what would you say is the ultimate Canadian musician, Dylan? The ultimate that you would want to represent you as a Canadian.
Well, it's hard to. That's such a loaded question because it depends on what you're into. Like I could say Rush.
No.
Right? But exactly.
So, you know what? It's clear as day. Celine Dion. She rules. Celine Dion for all. Come on. One of the best voices in all of music ever.
I would say one of the best musical entrepreneurs to come out of Canada is probably producer David Foster.
Isn't it ironic, don't you think? No, Alanis. Alanis Morissette. She got famous on an album that was so, like, the amount of work they had to do on her voice for that album was.
She's love Alanis. Met
she's
her
out
once.
of Ottawa,
she's
based where
stellar.
I am. She went to school right about.
She used to live in my uncle's old apartment building.
We all have a story about Alanis in Canada, by the way. Yeah, it's like my uncle knew her age. He was from Vancouver. They used to walk and meet in the center of Canada.
But no, I think with that, like love Alanis. Met her actually once. She's a pretty chill person, but voice is kind of all over the place. So I would not want to be the editing tech responsible for piecing that together from 14 different takes.
Yeah, apparently it was not. There's also the amount of layering on her voice because that was done in the mid 90s. So when somebody's not quite on key, maybe you can make it sound like she's singing along with herself.
1,500 is actually a really good price.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking of that. I know why I was talking about the top Canadian NARDWUAR. This is, I actually think it was Bandrew who was saying NARDWUAR is a gem. Do you know who NARDWUAR is, right?
Nope.
Oh, come on.
You gave me more to work with.
The interview with the human serviette. Much music.
Nope.
Okay, look up NARDWUAR. You will notice him as soon as you see him.
Probably. It's one of those people I've probably never maybe seen once and never given a shit to know. He was
the ultimate interviewer of musicians in the 90s for Canada.
The 90s were shit. I never paid attention to the 90s. I was too stoned throughout the 90s.
NARDWUAR. UAR? I can type it. I can't. No, WAR. WUAR is the greatest interviewer of all time. I will put money on that as well.
Oh, yeah. I've seen this guy.
He
I've seen
actually,
this guy.
I believe he got attacked a few years back, or he had a health scare. I can't remember what it was. I had forgotten that he existed. And then I went, as soon as I saw he was talking from his hospital bed, and I went on a binge of interviews from him on YouTube. And I think I watched about 3 hours of just him interviewing. And it's
Oh, yeah.
watching him when I
I've
was a
seen this
kid
guy.
was one thing. Watching him as an adult in the way he was interviewing everybody.
Well, especially
being-
as somebody that has a certain appreciation.
well, yeah,
for
I'm
how
in
to-
media. I interview
Yeah.
people all the time, but seeing him
Yeah.
interview, like, I was just like, oh my God, I am a crap interview. I can't interview with shit. And I also can't pull that hat off. That, like, not
Nobody
even
can.
close.
Only him. Only NARDWUAR.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna actually have to go on a NARDWUAR tour tonight. I'm not even gonna game. I'm just gonna watch NARDWUAR videos. Thank you for that. So anyone tell me what mic is being canceled? No, it's not the Blue Yeti, although there's a strong case for that. The mic being canceled is the CAD E100S is being discontinued. Bangs just picked up on it. It's a big favorite of Mike Delgado, Booth Junkie, and a lot of voiceover artists that I've known and that I've worked with have used the CAD. I've never had a chance to get one, and I think this is the time. If you do want to buy a CAD E100S, oh my God, am I going to look up the price of this?
It's only like $714 according to Amazon.
.ca or
according to Google, I should say. I just went to Google Shopping, so I don't know what site it's pulling that from. It could be used.
it's currently unavailable. Crap. Jeez. It's $646 for reverb.
Yeah, see, that's not bad. That's not like Psycho.
Yeah.
That's not like an MKH 416 or anything.
E100S Canada. Well, and this is the thing. Being Canadian sucks when you have to try to find something in Canada. Yeah, it's no longer available at AV Shop. It looks like they've run their stock out. Long and McQuaid. Oh, come on, Long and McQuaid. Longer and McQuaid always has it. $714.
Yeah, okay. So
Out of
it's basically-
stock. Out of stock, Ottawa. Oh, maybe I can order it in.
Maybe they've
Out of stock.
yeah, see if-
It's out of stock across
everywhere.
Canada.
Yeah.
Let's check Quebec.
So unless there's some hanging out in the distributor warehouse, you might be screwed.
No. So I'm gonna have to buy one used. I
Yeah, was
don't
gonna
really.
say, get it used.
I don't. There's 6 people on your server who bought one. I've never heard a bad thing about it. And it's one of those microphones that I don't. It's one of those microphones that everybody seems to swear by as soon as they get it. They don't really. And Bang says it should be used in the US for $200. Then Mike boosted it. I wonder how many of the voiceover community actually take Mike Delgado's word as law. Like, I mean, dude uses an MKH 416 for his VO like almost every other VO guy with a voice like his. Like every VO guy throws up an MKH 416 and they're now doing commercials. But I wonder how many of them like raced out to get the E100S when he really boosted it. He was all over, like he drooled over the microphone for several videos, if I recall. So, I mean, Mike's a very, very accomplished voiceover artist, so I would be hard pressed to argue with him. That said, though, I mean, a review of a microphone with a certain person's voice is going to be different. Like microphone that works
Again,
on
I
my
think that's
voice.
the main thing. Do you have a good voice? Do you have not a good voice? Do you know how to use your good voice? Like, I think there's a lot of mics. Like, it's not like that's the only mic that would work.
But
with your voice.
my voice is gonna have a different. It's gonna have
Yeah,
a different result than yours.
Well, of course, but like put him in front of an RE20 and he'll probably still sound amazing.
Yeah, well, no, and that's true. I mean, talent in voiceover is one of the most overlooked concepts.
It is the single most important thing,
Like,
without a question.
I've done voiceover demos that, like with Dylan, I've done a couple voiceover demos, and then like you give them to a pro, and they're like, "Yeah, well, maybe we can work on your read a bit," and I'm like,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty good, right? And they're like, "Yeah, you're okay. You can get jobs." And I've scored a couple. I'm the voice of a couple stations down south, but I'm pretty sure Mike Delgado's resume is a bit bigger.
We spend a shocking amount of time on those VOs, on those VO demos.
Which I paid you very little money for that. Stop complaining.
No, but I mean, point being is like, if those guys knew how much coaching just went to get that, because you had never done imaging stuff before, like professionally, so it was like a whole
and imaging is a completely different thing than other voiceover, like character voiceover and stuff. Yeah. So apparently Bang says it doubled the price of the E100S. That, talk about being, when people say that, oh, I'm not an influencer, you are bloody well an influencer. There's Mike Delgado. When he did that, I think he had 70,000 subs, and he doubled the price of a bloody microphone just by featuring it on his channel. That's an influencer. That's the core of what an influencer can do. I never heard about it being discontinued till today. That sucks if they doubled the price. Yeah.
Oh man, you know what? I just found your old VO demos. We should play them on the live right now.
Oh, feel free. Yeah. Take guys, do you want to hear? We have 10 people, concurrent viewers. Do the news one first, at least.
The news talk one?
Can you do the news talk one? You got to gain it down, though. It's hot. So, guys, this is actually my first ever voiceover demo.
Let's see if is that what people want to hear? Do people want to hear it?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Let's not wait 20 minutes. We're already like 15 minutes over an hour. So let's finish it off with my voiceover demo.
All right.
Dylan.
Are you ready?
Shoot, buddy.
Here we go.
Please welcome to the stage.
This is Aiden Wolf, voiceover artist from Ontario, Canada. Face it, it happens. And when it does, you want to know about it. Changing weather alerts, breaking news, and up-to-date traffic. 680 News.
All right, pause it. That's just gonna be painful to listen to a news one. Bandrew says, I think the aversion. By the way, turn your loop off. My voice is looping twice.
Yeah, because
I think the aversion to the term influencer comes from the wide range of people who are labeled influencer.
Who abuse the word influencer? Yeah.
You know what though? But an aversion to it is one thing, but the inability to accept. My video on the P4 people have told me you are the reason I bought the P4. That instantly labels me as somebody who has influenced a purchase decision.
In the sense that you have influenced people, but I think like actually.
Well, I'm not going to a hotel and saying, "Hey, if I stay here, I'll do a video on your channel or on my channel."
Well, I remember I had a chat with a marketing agency rep at one point, and we were talking about influencers, and there actually is like a definition for each platform of what constitutes an influencer. And you better have your engagement better be amazing, and your subscribers better all be real. Otherwise, good luck monetizing you on being an influencer.
Well,
like
but
real
that's the thing. One is I'm not trying
to
to monetize myself as an influencer, nor do I see myself as at what the industry sees as an influencer.
But I'm just I'm not saying it for you, but I'm saying more like there are the people that like just willy-nilly label themselves as influencer because they have 2,000 followers on Instagram. It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
Like maybe try, 1 million, then we'll talk.
And that's an interesting point that Bandrew brings up. I think you have influence, but you're not an influencer, and that's true.
Yep.
But if you look at the core properties of what an influencer would be, and I'm not talking about a 20-year-old with a bikini Instagram.
Woo.
That is, she's not selling boats. She's selling, well, maybe it's some kind of makeup or whatever.
Makeup boats.
Technically that is what it's turned into, but an influencer is just somebody that will influence the purchase decisions of others. And Bandrew,
in big enough numbers that it actually has
big
an
enough
impact
numbers
on the
that it has an impact. Yeah. Bandrew says, you're not saying, look at how cool I look while using the P4. You're saying, here's a piece of gear. Here's how it performs. Yeah. This is why I like it. Yeah. And yes, it's true. I think I maybe just look at like Linus Tech Tips.
Yeah, I was going to say Linus. I was just thinking that he is a great example.
I have tried bikinis. You should see me, man. I spill out of them all the time. Like, you looking for nip slips?
That's what's on your
Me
OnlyFans,
in a bikini.
right?
That's no, I don't have an OnlyFans yet. Shush. Linus is the one that he fights against the influencer term when it's like, dude, you have influenced like millions of people.
Yeah, he is like the tech industry influencer. If ever there
buy
was one.
AMD, don't buy Intel. How many people have moved to AMD because?
Oh yeah. Because he put Ryzen on the map.
Well, to a degree, he kind of did. But he's he's not saying how cool he looks.
Yeah, he's just saying, here's the numbers.
Yeah,
like
here's
you
the
should
numbers.
buy this because it works well. Like that's.
And that makes him an influencer. He's not in a bikini. Well, he has that OnlyFans video.
Your bikini would influence Bangs.
My bikini would influence a lot of things for a lot of people, not necessarily in a great reason. I don't think I've ever listened to Linus. Fascinating. I actually really like a lot of what Linus puts out. I like who he is as a presenter. I think that's what I appreciate the most about Linus.
I think he's a real, like, I've heard him on interviews before talking about his business strategies and stuff, and he's a very good entrepreneur.
Oh, huge. Bandrew says, I would say Linus is an informer as opposed to an influencer. But I mean, yes, he is an informer as opposed to an influencer, but then he also has a market. Like he has a marked influence on.
He has a personal brand that's pretty widespread. And
He doesn't buy stock because he thinks it would be wrong of him to benefit.
Influence.
but he would technically be able to influence his own stock, so he doesn't even own stock.
Well, yeah,
like,
that's insider trading, basically.
Yeah, that's like me buying stock in Rode, and then everything Rode that comes across, oh, you need to buy.
You need to,
yeah,
that's greasy. Don't do that.
Influencers are more of a celebrity consumers, and that's.
Well, that's it. You have to have a personal brand. You yourself. It can't just be like I provide value. Like lots of people, as Bandrew was saying there, you got to.
You have to add your value to the content.
You can be an informer and add value, but in order to be an influencer, you have to have like a very concise, recognizable, earlier we were talking about, you have to be able to be somebody that can be like, hey, look at me, I'm holding this thing, and people go and buy it. You don't even have to talk about it.
Yeah.
You just say, hey, here's me with a thing, and people be like, oh, he has that thing. I want it now because he has it.
I'm sorry. I think that should be a step beyond influencer, and that should have its own concept. Because
there is a big gap between informer and influencer for sure.
Yeah.
Side by
and
side.
you know what I mean? It's all fine for debating during a live stream. I don't think it matters either way. I think everybody has a responsibility to make sure what they're putting out there,
that they're providing some kind of value.
That there's a value to what you're putting out instead of just like, you need to buy this. Like I had one, the Stellar X2 review I had, the thumbnail still shows me holding the mic and says, buy this mic. But the whole point of that, and somebody was like, oh, dude, all you're doing is you're just trying to like get sales. No, actually, I don't make a penny off of Stellar X2 sales. I think 2 of them have sold. What I'm saying is this mic is worth its salt. And if you're going to be in the market for a microphone, I would recommend this to try.
Cult leader. Cult leader is the level beyond influencer.
Dimebag Darren Lowe. Haven't seen you on the stream, buddy. Welcome. I know
coming in with a bang. That's great. Love it.
Builds too many $10,000 computer configurations, especially now annoying when graphics cards are not getting anywhere. Hey man, I'm still running a 1066 gig. And by the way,
shut up. I'm still running a card that's 15 years old, man.
Tell everyone what your card is, by the way. We seem to have a few computer nerds here.
Nope.
You're not going to say it? All right.
Fine. I actually don't even remember. I know it's definitely not from the X 80 series cards that it's like it's probably 10 years prior to that. That's in this system right now. Let me see. Hang on. I'm loading up MSI Afterburner.
I do have to say, one of the things that I want to get into is computer stuff. Of course, I'm getting a Mac, and I'm going to be looking at the difference between Mac and PC. So, I mean, stay tuned if you're into the computer stuff. Obviously, I'm not Linus Tech Tips, so don't expect that level. But
I'm running an EVGA GeForce 9800 GT.
9800 GT. I took one of those apart I'd say about 3 years back.
Guess how much? Guess how much RAM? Guess how much VRAM?
Oh no, like 512?
Half a gig, yeah.
512, wow.
Half a gig. I tried to put out like a Photoshop a proof last night at it was like 24 by 48 inches, and it was I tried to move it from 3 to 600 DPI, and it crashed. Like the whole system crashed.
Somebody asked, MZ says, can you introduce your own microphones? And why have you chosen just those? I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to, what those are. Dimebag Darren says, I'm local to Linus. I have an AMD local to Linus. Anyways, I have an AMD FX80 320.
I mean,
that's not bad. GTX 660. That's getting on there. That's not
graphics cards are definitely in my priority list for the
yeah.
near future.
That's not as bad as Dylan's. That's for sure.
Yeah, as soon as they're available. And again, this guy's done decent. It's still working actually quite well,
Yeah.
but for video editing, my God.
Yeah, and that's what I'm running into. What mics are you using and why you selected them? Right now, I'm actually using the AKG P220. The review on this, the review / comparison to the P120 is coming out on Monday. Why I select my microphones is based on how I like it on my voice, whether or not it has some harsh frequencies that doesn't resonate well with my voice. I don't do a lot of music. However, I do want to change that. I do want to see kind of more of a multi-use for microphones in the future. And Dylan's probably going to be playing a bigger part in that than he realizes for very little money. But for the most part, it's also dictated by cash. I have up until the past 4 months, haven't had the cash flow to be able to just drop on microphones that I want. The AKG C414 XLS is still my dream microphone, and I do have the money to drop on it, but that wouldn't be financially smart for me to do so.
Yeah.
So I haven't dropped the 1,700 Canadian dollars on it. So it's finding the microphones that suit me the best and
I should have told you. Studio Economic had a deal actually a couple weeks ago on
shut
one of their
up.
weekend flash sales.
Don't tell me. One of the things that I chose the NT2A for is because it didn't take as much EQing to get that microphone to make my voice sparkle. So that was my first voiceover mic that I knew I could use, and I didn't have to sit there and mess around with EQing and compression as much. And I really like the higher end on the NT2A on my voice. And that's what it comes down to when choosing a microphone is putting them side by side, checking them out. How does it sound on my voice? That said, that's also before COVID. So not a lot of places want you to put the mics side by side. My microphones, NT2A, I use it to Texone Audio Products, Stellar X2. I do want to get the X3 in. The Neat mics, the Worker Bee, as much as I didn't want to like it, it's also become part of my repertoire. I use that on air quite a bit.
Oh yeah, they're iffy indoors because you get reflections bouncing straight into the front of the mic.
What's that?
Don't use. I've done boom op on like film sets before and stuff, and like you'll have I was doing on location mixing, and the boom op was an idiot. And he was trying to get underneath like the frame because it was a kind of a wide. It was a wide shot, so he's like, I can't go anywhere above it. So, and he was pointing the boom mic right up at like an HVAC diffuser.
Oh,
was
wow.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm just like listening, I'm like, what the fuck is that noise?
It really picked it up well too, eh?
Well, I'm just like, what is that noise? And then I look over at him and I was just trying to make hand signals like mid shot, like.
Yeah. Oh,
he's like, what is this?
So Dimebag actually lives in British Columbia with Linus.
Yeah, I kind of figured when he's like, I'm, locals.
I didn't know if he was saying loyal or he was going with local. Because he could have said he was loyal to Linus. That's cool.
Yeah.
They have many mics. I want to work for Linus. My mic is a Rode NT2A. I like it. You know what? For the money, the NT2A is a great microphone.
It is.
And shotguns are great if you're doing voiceover, but I guess a lot of gamers use shotguns. You can get the mini shotguns bangs that aren't as bad for indoors. Yeah, they can be problematic. You get comb filtering artifacts if you aren't careful. Yeah, the smaller ones are decent. All right, I'm going to have to call this an hour and a half in. I actually have to go have shawarma.
Shawarma!
We have a place that sells shawarma meat and all that stuff, and I gonna be disappointed if I don't get my shawarma. Next week we'll have Dylan go through his microphones and why he chose them. That's actually a great conversation starter for Dylan. It will take probably 3 hours.
Just around me right now, I have 3.
One thing I am gonna say about the P220 before it comes out, the fact that it comes with its own shock mount. And the shock mount is frighteningly good. Like, comparatively, I would say it's on par with the NT2A shock mount, which is a much more expensive microphone. And I've no issues with this shock mount whatsoever.
I'd be curious about the longevity because I find what tends to suffer with those shock mounts is not like designs are easy to copy, but it's usually the material of the
the bands.
stretchies.
You
Yeah.
can get those though; they're all relatively the same size.
Yep.
You can
they
buy
are.
those
In fact,
elastics.
the one thing I didn't mention about the Vanguard V13 mic that I just bought that was shown a couple weeks ago, it actually came with 3 sets of extra bands.
Ooh, yeah, this one came
like-
with 1. So
Which on first glance I was like, oh, that's really cool. But then part of me is like, wait, they're assuming the bands are going to die. I'm
well, no,
assuming,
EV does the same thing. Electro Voice sends a
Yep.
bunch with
yeah, but their
theirs.
bands are shit.
They are absolutely
Yeah, they're the worst.
considering the price of their shock mounts. It's they are pretty bad. I
Now,
remember
Neumann's are like woven. They're like woven elastic.
Yeah.
So their Neumann ones are.
I
they're gonna
bet
last
you
probably
you
forever.
could probably get a Neumann onto this, the Neumann bands. I'm gonna order some and see if you can.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, I'll do that.
What style? Show the style of the.
Oh god damn it! I can't. Oh yeah.
It'll take me a minute
There you go.
before I see it.
So it's
it a
basic. It's all
Is
metal.
it like the spider kind
Yeah.
of mount going around the
Yeah.
sides?
Well, you should see it now.
yeah, give it a
Yeah,
second.
yeah. It's the spider mount.
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, the Neumann bands should fit that.
Yeah.
If not, you may have to I don't know, trim them and then glue it a little bit, but it should be doable.
Okay.
Like epoxy it.
Thank you everyone for joining. Hey, thanks Bandrew for stopping by the live stream. Appreciate it. And this is probably the biggest day we've ever had on the live stream. Very, very cool. Thanks for joining us. The Neumann bands will cost about as much as the AKG C414. Son of a bitch! Oh man, the C414. Dimebag, sorry. One last thing before we go. The mic that got canceled is the CAD
E100S.
E100S. Man, it's Friday. It's time to pack it in. I've got to go do a bunch of recording, as you can see. My
And
whole
he's got to
setup's
go do
kinda screwed.
shawarma.
And shawarma is on the table for sure. So, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you Monday for a new video, and I'll see you next Friday for the next live stream.